sleepers, stay cabs, dump and service trucks, flatbeds, buses, trailers, boats, RVs, farm tractors, pickups, autos, and more. It's the 2-day Summer Contractors Live Auction, Thursday, Friday, June 20th, 21st, starting at 10 a.m. Henderson Auctions in Livingston, Louisiana, accepting your consignments too. Register now at hendersonauctions.com. Business license number AB-459.
The views and opinions expressed during this show are those of the host and guests only. In no way do they represent the views, positions, or opinions expressed or implied of WGSO 990 AM or North Shore Radio Incorporated.
We will be invincible. She sings it better than I say it. Good morning, New Orleans. You're already up and probably already have had breakfast and are sitting around. Welcome to the Jack Clegg Show on WGSO 990 AM and WGSO.com for the audio podcast. And I believe we have finally solved a problem that we were having with our video podcast. So you should be able to watch us on YouTube, X, and probably Facebook too, but for sure YouTube and X. And hopefully we've got this problem resolved. Okay, today we've got an interesting show for you, but a couple of announcements that are very important. Okay, the first announcement is in 7 days, next Thursday, we will have a very, very, very interesting media event. The media event will be the debate between President Biden and former President Trump on CNN. It begins at 8 o'clock Central and goes to 9:30. Most of you will be watching that. Okay, that's fine. But if you really, 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 really want to learn what happened, you'll tune in to WGSO at 9:30 in the evening. And you'll join me and Jeff Carrere for their first post-debate show. It'll be next Thursday night at 9:30 on WGSO 990 AM. We will also stream it. We will take callers. So we're excited about the show. And we'll be planning for it in the next 7 days. One of the things that we plan to do, at least I plan to do on my show, next Tuesday, we have a guest that's going to tackle an issue that the media has been tiptoeing around for the last 2 years. And it's really funny looking what the national media has done. And they probably would say, well, we erred on being cautious. What am I talking about? In the last 2 years, we've heard the media, and particularly some of the more conservative media types, talking about President Biden's age, his age. Now, many of us who have been watching President Biden and other people his age notice the difference between 81-year-old President Biden and 80-year-old former President Trump, 83-year-old Anthony Fauci. We see a lot of older people that are in positions of power and that are making public statements. But President Biden's demeanor, his movements, his conditions, when I first saw them, and most of the people I talk to, whether they're on the Republican side or the Democratic side, we feel sad because he looks like he has what used to be called senility. Now, there are many, many medical names for it: dementia, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. There's all kinds of things. Well, next Tuesday night, 2 days before the debate, we're going to have an expert on the show discussing what are the physical signs that you see on two issues? One, what are the physical signs that you see when somebody actually has dementia or Parkinson's or Alzheimer's? What do they do? What do they not do? That's one part of it. The second part of it is we know, well, you should know, and you'll find out next Tuesday, there are detailed treatments, many with drugs, some with hyperbaric treatments for people who have dementia, Parkinson's, or Alzheimer's. But those treatments come along with side effects. And those side effects are known by geriatric nurses and other people who deal with older folks who have these conditions. And I think it's worthwhile that the audience, that those of you that are watching, will have some things to look for. Now, the second question is, the more overriding question is this. There are rules to this debate. We've all heard about them. You can't have notes. Now, how is President Biden going to do that without notes? We've seen in most of the speeches he gives, he has notes, but they can't have notes. They're going to have to stand for 90 minutes. Now, for most folks, that's probably okay, but these are 80-year-olds, so they're going to be standing. There's only 2 breaks they can take. During the breaks, they cannot consult with their support staff. Okay. The other thing that's a rule at this particular debate is there's no audience. Now, I think of that as kind of interesting. Why is there no audience? Well, when there's no audience, it puts a huge, huge premium on the cameraman. If you're the cameraman and there's no audience, you will not hear members of the audience making comments or laughing or gasping or doing things that you might normally have in a live event. Instead, the camera will focus on what the cameraman wants. Now, if we have let's just say, and this is more than a hypothetical, it's actually happened. If we have a position where one of the 2 candidates just has a blank stare and is unable to speak, people call it a brain freeze or whatever, you can give it all the names, will the cameraman keep focus on that particular candidate? If a candidate loses his temper and starts shouting and yelling, will the cameraman keep the focus? So there's issues that are very important, not only to what we hear in the positions of the candidates, but positions that we see. What do we see? And while often it's hard to describe what we see, we know it when we see it. So in summary conclusion, I'm excited to be part of the show, be the Jack Clegg show next Thursday night. We will also have a show in the day, our 11 o'clock show, but at 9:30. And Jeff Carrere will join, and we will talk about the debate. And, of course, callers are welcome. So that's next Thursday. Next Tuesday, we'll have an expert on geriatrics, and we'll perhaps learn a little bit about the conditions that you may see during the debate. Okay. Other topics for today's show. And we can talk about the debate if you'd like. A very important topic, and I think it's important because in Louisiana, we have just passed a law that is going to require in every public school classroom throughout the state of Louisiana, we're going to post the 10 Commandments. And I believe the ACLU has already threatened to file a suit, and if they haven't, they will soon. So we're going to talk about that, the advantages and disadvantages. What do you think about that? I think it's an important topic. And one other topic we're going to talk about is, why is this debate so important? And we're going to get to those issues in a moment. Right now, we're going to take a break. This is the Jack Clegg Show, WGSO 990 AM. We'll be back in a few moments.
Hey, it's Kevin Carr with your personal sneak preview invitation to join me on Sunday evening from 8 to 9 for Fat Guys at the Movies. Each week, I give you my take on the newest movies and movie news, but in a fun way. Not like those stuffy movie review snobs who take themselves way too seriously. I tell you if the new movies rock or not. Yes, it's fun for all ages with Fat Guys at the Movies. I'll see you Sunday evening at 8 on WGSO 990 AM.
Donate your vehicle and make a difference. WGSO 990 AM has partnered with Charitable Adult Rides and Services, also known as CARS, to allow you the opportunity to donate your car, truck, motorcycle, RV, or boat to our nonprofit organization. You may qualify for a tax deduction while supporting a cause that is near and dear to your heart. Simply go to WGSO.com and follow the link on our homepage. Vehicle donation pickup is always free to you, and most vehicles can be picked up within 24 to 72 hours. You'll receive an initial car donation receipt upon pickup, and then the CARS team will work to turn your car into cash to support our cause. Once your vehicle is sold, the CARS team will provide you proper tax forms in time to file. Their friendly donor support representatives are available 7 days a week to assist throughout the process. Again, for more information, go to WGSO.com.
Hey, did you hear the Britannia Bar Uptown has a whole lot of new live entertainment going on? Every Wednesday night at 8 p.m., they alternate either stand-up comedy or classic movie showings. Thursday at 9 is themed karaoke. They have live music on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday starting at 9 p.m., and every Monday is blues night starting at 6. Plus, they have the longest shuffleboard table in the city, a 22-footer. Wow! Located on the corner of Britannia and Delachaise Street, right across from Touro Hospital. Come check out all of the fun at the Britannia Bar.
Hey, this is Christian Garrick. I'm excited about my new show on WGSO 990 AM, Monday through Friday, noon to 2 p.m. There are a lot of things going on in this country and in this city that are concerning. I'm your voice. You might be afraid to speak out for fear of cancel culture or losing your job. Christian Garrick Show on WGSO is your platform, noon to 2, weekdays, right here on 990 AM WGSO.
Hey, fellow patriots, I'm John.
And I'm Mike.
We're the Jambalaya Boys from the Holy and Patriotic Jambalaya Show.
Join us Friday night on 5 to 6 p.m. on WGSO 990 AM and WGSO.com.
God, family, and country.
All right, New Orleans, welcome to the second segment of the Jack Clegg Show here on WGSO 990 AM and WGSO.com. And the video podcast you can catch on YouTube, X, Facebook, all the usual suspects. Okay, we have a caller that has called. It is Matthew. Matthew, how are you today?
I'm doing well. So let me begin by saying I think you made a little error, and it's not entirely your fault.
Well, that's all. That's always good to know.
You said Donald Trump was going to be debating Joe Biden in the debate, and that is partially true, but it's also partially false. I don't know that Donald Trump will actually be debating Joe Biden so much as Dana Bash and Jake Tapper.
Well, I stand corrected. I understand what you're talking about. And the format is each will be asked a question by the CNN reporters who we clearly know are anti-Trump. Let's just say it. They are. Okay. So you are correct. So each one of them gets a question. They get to answer it. There is a response by the other one. So if a question is to President Biden, he gets to say what he says. Trump gets to reply to that. And then there are rebuttals. Now, here's one of the things that, I mean, I can't abide by, but it's part of the rules, that the hosts will be able to cut off the rebuttals.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's what's going to control this thing. And look,
you understand what the objective of CNN and the Biden campaign's objective in this whole thing is going to be to get Donald Trump to lose his temper, to look like an unhinged maniac.
Oh, well,
that's their whole objective.
Well, I was going to say there are two objectives. That's the one of them. The other one is, over a 90-minute period, how many times can you say the term convicted felon? That's the other goal. That's the other goal.
Make a drinking game out of that.
Exactly. Yes. So those are the things.
Alcohol poisoning before the 90 minutes is over.
Well, and I spoke to the person that's going to be our expert next Tuesday on the telltale signs of mental lack of cognition. We call it dementia.
Prefrontal dementia. Both 6-hexenhammer and Dan Bongino think that's what we're looking at, not full-blown Alzheimer's.
Well, the person that's going to be our expert has worked in geriatrics her entire career. And it's not just, what we're going to see is not just signs of either dementia or Alzheimer's or Parkinson's or a mixture of them all, but the side effects of the drugs that are given to those patients to help them in what is called treatment. In this case, to help them appear normal. Now, I saw, and you probably did too if you watch the State of the Union, an incredibly aggressive Joe Biden. And
absolutely. How about the Hitler speech? That was great. I mean, he was like on fire there. I mean,
right. And those kind of things. And I'll wait and we'll hear from our expert to describe those. But as a little bit of a forecast in what next Tuesday's show is going to be, those issues are easy to spot. They're easy for us to see. Now, one of the issues I have is that we've been hearing for so long that this is an issue of age. I want to knock that out of the ballpark. This is not an issue of age. I saw Anthony Fauci. I don't like Anthony Fauci, but I cannot say that there's one percentage of my opinion that thinks he's demented or has Parkinson's or anything else. He's fine. He's fine. He's older than either Biden or Trump. So it's not an age issue.
Than dirt.
Right.
I think he was a young man when FDR was president. Probably was his personal physician. So last week, both you and Rusty did something very commendable, but unfortunately, it means y'all will have to now exit the conservative movement. You are no longer conservative.
Okay.
You noticed the homeless situation.
Boy, I'll tell you what, it's a huge issue, and it's going to get bigger. I had a buddy of mine, and he may call the show today. He calls every once in a while Chris Papajohn. He's in the film industry. He helps whenever a movie has vessels in it, barges or ocean-going vessels or canoes or whatever. Chris is the guy they bring out because he'll secure the vessel, make sure that it's safe, give training to those that are involved. He's a great guy. But he also is in California, and he's my eyes and ears in California. They just announced the building for homeless people in Los Angeles, a 20-story building with single person dwellings within, okay, for the homeless.
Right.
Okay. What he called to tell me about today was the price for each one of the units, what it actually costs to build each unit in this 20-story building. Each unit, $670,000.
Well, I can understand that. It costs a lot of money to build a room completely out of stainless steel.
and in the midst of every cost there is you're building it in the midst of an area that's well settled. If you built it out in the desert, it wouldn't be so expensive, but you're building it in an area that is very expensive from a real estate standpoint. So what we're doing here with the homeless, if you add the homeless, three things: the homeless and the money we spend on trying to solve that problem. Number two, student loans, forgiveness of student loans. That's not one of the topics today, but one of the things that really, really, really gets me is this. Okay. The federal government says, all right, we're going to give you students loans to go to college. Okay, right. And you're going to pay them back. Okay, fine. This president comes along and says, I'd like to get your votes. So what we're going to do is forgive your debt. Forgive the loan. Well, you know who I haven't heard from on this issue?
And who is that, sir?
The IRS. Because
yes.
if it's not
Every
a loan
forgiven is income.
Yes, if it's not a loan, it's income. So all these folks have gotten this substantial income from the federal government that's tax-free. I mean,
well, when the Democrats sweep to power in November, they'll fix that.
Oh, yeah, they will. All right, Matthew, hold on a moment. We're going to take a break. This is the Jack Clegg Show. This is the Thursday, not Tuesday, the Thursday edition, 1 week before the presidential debate. We'll be back in a few moments.
Make a difference in the community. Join the JPSO family. The Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office is recruiting candidates for our 2025 Police Academy. If you are a recent graduate, former military, or someone looking for a new career where you can make a difference, learn the academic and tactical skills to protect and serve. Application deadline for the Academy is September 6th, so don't wait. Join the JPSO family. Visit jpsojobs.com today.
It's pet trendologist Charlotte Reed. Listen to the latest pet trends with benefits on the Pet Buzz, airing every Saturday at 6 p.m. Join me as I talk all things pets, from animal health and wellness, money-saving tips, the newest pet products, celebrity pet gossip, breaking news, and more. Our expert guests are in the know and in the now. To learn more about our unique program, our guest, and me, your host, listen to the show on WGSO 990, the community voice of the Crescent City.
Broadcasting from deep within the Louisiana Purchase, beneath spacious skies, overlooking the fruited plain, and smack dab in the land of the free. The American Ground Radio Program with Louis R. Abalone and Stephen Parr, where freedom grows. Listen each weeknight from 7 to 9 p.m. with Louis R. Avalone and Stephen Parr. Here on WGSO 990 AM.
Big Easy Pet Shop and Rescue is a nonprofit volunteer-run rescue. We provide adoption services and care for homeless animals across the New Orleans metro area. We also offer pet supplies and grooming services at our downtown and Marigny locations. The shops are located at 839 Spain Street and 513 Dumaine Street and are open from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. weekdays and noon to 6 on Saturdays, noon to 5 on Sundays. We can be found on the web at BigEasyPetShop.com. Support local animals in need by shopping and adopting with Big Easy Animal Rescue.
Louisiana Radio Network, I'm Jeff Palermo. Governor Landry has signed into law a measure that requires every public school classroom from kindergarten to college to post the 10 Commandments. Landry expects lawsuits from civil liberty groups, and the executive director of the Louisiana ACLU, Alana Odoms, says they are filing one because it violates the separation of church and state clause in the U.S. Constitution.
Thomas Jefferson, one of the founding fathers, actually declared that there is a line that cannot be crossed where we have, in fact, a separation of church and state. And this piece of legislation flies in the face of that.
But Louisiana Family Forum President Gene Mills believes the law will withstand a legal challenge because the 10 Commandments provides a foundation for modern-day law in America.
And Liz Murrell and her Solicitor General are hands-on and understand what's at stake. I think that's the reason the governor said, I can't wait for the challenge.
And Louisiana Attorney General Liz Murrell says she's looking forward to defending the law. LRN.
If you're looking for the most epic place on earth, let's start at the base of a massive waterfall. Then trek through the thick jungle. Then climb to the peak of a snowy mountaintop. Then once you get there, keep going. Because with intelligent 4x4 and 7 drive modes and a Nissan Pathfinder, the search is the real adventure.
Available feature. Intelligent 4x4 cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
I'm Insurance Commissioner Tim Temple. When severe weather threatens, you know what to do. This is Louisiana. We have a track record of resiliency. So let's stay prepared. Review your property insurance coverage and contact your agent now before storm season starts if you have any questions or need to make changes. Log on to ldi.la.gov for more consumer tips and guidance. ldi.la.gov. Let's stay prepared.
Now is your chance to get rid of those old pants for good. WGSO supports the New Orleans homeless community through Grace at the Green Light. Grace needs to restock its free clothing closet for the unsheltered with new or gently used menswear. Donations accepted Tuesday and Saturday mornings, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. at 1526 Aretha Castle Haley Boulevard, or anytime at donate.graceatthegreenlight.org.
Hi, I'm Huck, an active Christian who loves Louisiana. One of my goals is to bring Louisiana's education from 50th to number 1.
And I'm Dave. I'm not afraid of government bureaucrats. I fear God. Our rights and freedoms come from Him.
This is Liberty or Lockdown. Please join us on Thursdays at 5 p.m. on WGSO 990 AM and WGSO.com.
Hey, Mimi, we love Wednesdays, but we're moving to a new time.
Listen to He Said, She Said, Wednesdays at 6 p.m.
As usual, we'll be discussing and debating the hot topics.
And taking your phone calls.
You can find out who's right. Of course, that's me.
No, wait, Jeff, I'm never wrong. Remember, happy wife, happy life.
So we'll have a lot to talk about on He Said, She Said.
Listen to the Crew of Crew Air Wednesdays at 6 p.m.
Right here on WGSO.
Does your business need to boost sales or drive customer loyalty? Talk to Sir Speedy. We're direct mail pros who can get your company in front of the right people with our comprehensive direct mail and mailing services. All you have to do is share your goals with us and we do the rest. Get the ball rolling and send your next direct mail project to us. Everything you need, one resource. Call 504-586-9812. Sir Speedy, we do.
All right, New Orleans, welcome back to the third segment of the Jack Clegg Show. You're listening to WGSO 990 AM. We still have Matthew on. Matthew, go ahead for a few moments. What you got?
Okay. So the thing about noticing the homeless issue is traditionally the conservative approach was, like the Sean Hannity thing. Well, it's their fault that they're homeless. They should have done like I did and worked 26 hours a week,
Sure.
8 days 26 hours a day, 8 days a week.
Sure.
And that's been the traditional approach. They just didn't work hard enough. They didn't save enough. It's their fault. And, we point at people who are in the situation that they're in and criticize them. Doesn't change it for them. They're still in that situation, even though now they even feel worse because you've just spent an endless amount of airtime telling them what a horrible piece of crap they are.
Well,
yes. But when you notice it, the left says, aha, see, the founders screwed up. They should have included a right to housing in the Bill of Rights.
A right to
So
housing,
we need
that's
to amend the Constitution. Like,
Well,
who provides this housing?
Well,
you got Gavin Newsom's project.
So we have, if that were true, okay, a right to housing in your $670,000 quarters. And what about food? What about some of them? What about some of them who earn income? I'm not talking about students who get money from the government that they never have to pay back. I'm talking about those that go out and sell things on the street or steal things and then sell them. Like if you live in Los Angeles, how much a day can you steal? $900 a day? And it's not a felony?
Basically steal
from
any retail establishment $900. This is in New York too.
Yes.
Great YouTube channel called Cash Gordon.
Cash Gordon.
Cash Jordan.
Okay,
Explaining the disintegration of basically New York. I mean, it's coming apart.
Well,
Wheels coming off the bus.
Right.
But the news media would rather pay attention to anything else.
Well, and the point of
There's
it
something
was
happening off the coast. There's a Russian warship off the coast of Miami. Let's focus on that.
sure. And if when all else fails, let's find some place in America that's really hot today, because that's global warming. We've got that
Global
coming.
warming.
Yes. So all of those things. Well, Matthew,
Well,
thanks.
that's the root. That's the root cause of all of these people flooding up from
the
Central
migrants.
America and South America.
Right.
It's so dang hot down there that they just can't take it anymore.
Well, when I start seeing Eskimos coming to New Orleans because it's so hot in Alaska, then I'll believe it. All right, Matthew, thanks for calling. Appreciate it. No kidding. All right. We have another caller, Rusty. Rusty, how are you today?
I'm pretty good, Jack.
Good. What?
Let me put off my radio. It's
Okay.
trying to hear you. I'm getting feedback.
All right.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't catch the beginning of your show. I was taking care of business, and I asked Patty. She talked about this guest you're going to have next Tuesday. I thought it was today, so I was catching up in the conversation between you and Matthew.
Sure.
I'd like to say two things real quick. This is the first thing about the homeless, and then if you don't mind, I can say something about Biden. First thing, you can't blame those homeless people for them paying that much money.
Oh, it's not their fault that construction costs in Los Angeles for this building are out of this world. It's not their fault. Why they decided to do it in real estate in Los Angeles, that's crazy.
Right. Well, there's this question. When I called you last Tuesday, you mentioned how old the average age is of most of the people.
Sure. There's a lot of people over 50.
And even though 50 is not senior years, it's going in that direction. You would think it'd be more younger people. And I told you I discovered that anyone over 65, and this comes back to your conversation with Matthew.
Sure.
can get Social Security, what they call age base. Now, you might say these people don't deserve this. But the question is, are we going to let these people who more and more so look like senior citizens rot in the street, or are we going to take the other approach? I'm generally a conservative, but I believe that we should try to help these people, and they do. And even though they may not have earned this stuff, because anyone who's over 65, whether they even worked a day in their life, is eligible for this. And
Sure.
you can find this and so on. I feel we need to help them. And so my thought is, hey, you have a choice here. You can let them rot in the street, or this thing that I just discovered, this age-based SSI, or you can help them. And my feeling is that we ought to help them. We don't really know everybody why they end up where they are.
Right.
You don't know what circumstances in their lives. Sometimes they pay into the tax, the Social Security system, but they work independently. And some of them have health issues that go on for many, many years in their lives. And you can look into every situation all you want and try to discover, but the government came up with something, to my surprise, that says after you're 65, you're qualified for this. And
whether you paid into Social Security or not.
Paid a penny, paid into
right,
it or
right,
not.
right.
And I know that probably irritates a lot of people, particularly conservative people, but it don't do to me, because I know there are people, I found out in my life, there are people whose circumstances, like I know this one lady who took care of her family. She dropped out of school at 8th grade, and she took care of her family. And she would never get anything. Yes, she did for her family, who a bunch of people who were unhealthy and so on. There are circumstances like that.
Right.
Now, and if I can go jump ahead into the Biden thing.
Well, let me. I'll let you talk about Biden. I'm not going to cut you off, but I wanted to respond to this because it is we need to have a national debate about this.
Okay.
And we need to have some decisions made that what is our government responsible for? Okay, let me go back to when I was a little boy and when you were a little boy. Now, I didn't grow up in New Orleans, so I couldn't tell you, but when in Chicago, when I grew up, my mom and dad would take us places in Chicago. Sometimes we would take the bus ourselves and go. It was safe to do that back then. And we'd go by 22nd Street. 22nd Street and Maxwell Street was another place, was where what are called winos or bums or drunks. Okay. And I don't mean to be insensitive, but when I heard the story, and I said it last Tuesday, that the majority of these people are older, I didn't think about it until afterwards, but I thought, most of the people I saw on 22nd Street or Maxwell Street back in the 60s who were sleeping on the street, okay, because they had gotten drunk and passed out and whatever, most of them were old. Most of them were old. And I thought about that, and I'm thinking, well, the articles I was reading about the majority of homeless people being old said they were homeless because of the economy, that we've had recession after recession after recession, and inflation after inflation after inflation, and real estate prices are out of this world. You can't buy a home. You can't afford to pay rent for a single room in New Orleans is over $700 a month. So, how are people supposed to live? Okay. And that is a legitimate debate. But I also think, what are we going to do about those people that become homeless because they just don't function anymore? Okay.
What do you mean by that?
Because of alcohol or drugs, they aren't functioning. They don't want to work. They don't work. And it's not because they can't. Okay, we got to take a break. We're going to continue this on the other side of a break. This is a Jack Clegg show, WGSO 990 AM. We're going to solve the homeless problem right here today.
Hello, Patriots. My name is Connie, and I am a fellow Louisianian. I started an online store in 2019 exclusively selling products which are made in the USA. My site is AmericanCentralStore.com. That's AmericanCentralStore.com. The reason for this ad is that I need products. I am trying to find drop shipping merchants with Louisiana-made products that can ship directly to the customer. If you are a Louisiana merchant who makes quality products, and if you can drop ship your products directly to the customer, I would love to hear from you. The only products I cannot carry right now are clothing items, but will carry those in the future. Please visit my site at AmericanCentralStore.com. Click the Contact Us link for the phone number and email address. Thank you, Patriots. Be American, buy American.
Hey folks, it's Jeff Cruer. I've been with WGSO for 17 years as host and now president and general manager. WGSO is a community-based radio station, a nonprofit, locally operated. We believe in cultivating local talent and emphasizing local programs. If you have an interest in hosting your own program, then we have some prime spots available for you. Take advantage of this great offer. Email me at jeff@wgso.com or call me at 504-669-6076. Come fulfill your radio dreams at WGSO.
Hi, this is Kevin Carr, host of Fat Guys at the Movies. Listen every Sunday at 8 p.m. on WGSO 990 AM, the community voice of the Crescent City.
Hello, this is David Jeremiah. Join me each weekday morning at 5:30 or 6:30 for Turning Point here on Talk Radio 990 AM.
Hey, this is BJ Russ. Make sure you join me every Saturday night for the Something to Say radio show right here on WGSO 990 AM. We'll be on from 7 to 8 p.m. We'll talk sports, music, movies, and pretty much anything in between. Saturday nights at 7 p.m. on WGSO 990 AM. That's the place to be. And don't forget that you can listen to us on WGSO.com and on the Mixler app.
Join us on Thursday, June 27th from 9:30 to 11 p.m. right here on WGSO for the post-presidential debate analysis show. Yours truly, Jeff Cruer, will be in the house, as well as our WGSO talk show host, Jack Clegg. We want to hear from you, our great listeners. Who won and who lost? Give us your analysis of this first presidential debate. So check us out right here for the presidential debate analysis show, Thursday, June 27th from 9:30 to 11 p.m.
Hi, this is Susan Berniker bringing you a new show, Health Connections, every Wednesday afternoon at 5 p.m. Doctors, researchers, authors, and more. Join me Wednesdays at 5 o'clock right here on WGSO 990 AM.
All right, New Orleans. Welcome back to the fourth and final segment of our Thursday edition of the Jack Clegg Show. And we have Rusty on line one. Excellent. All right, Rusty. So the issue that I raised is something we don't discuss. And that is, there are people out there who have chased away their families, chased away their friends, chased away their employers, chased away everyone who would help them because they are addicted either to alcohol or drugs. And how do we help them?
Well, Jack, if I can say something about that.
Sure.
I've heard that half the people in the United States are addicted to medications. These are legal medications.
That's kind of high, but okay, let's assume that's correct.
Okay, I've heard this from a guy who used to be on the radio, called himself a doctor, Dr. Michael Savage. And I've never confirmed that or not, but that's what he said.
Let's assume it's right. Go ahead.
By my contacts with other people, I believe it's true. I've never been, I'm not boasting about this, but I've never been, and I think it's a mistake for society to go in that direction. But I don't think all these people that end up on the street started because of illegal drugs or even alcohol. After living on the streets, and I know something about this from many years ago, it would be easy for a person to turn to these things in order to cope with the kind of world he lives in. We look at this in the black and white, and on one side we think they're having a picnic out there. They're not. They're not having a picnic.
No, I would agree with that. That's true.
Living miserable lives. And for this age-based SSI, I think they said when a person gets 65, he's going to be ending up in a hospital. If he don't have some money in his pocket or in jail, he's going to become so desperate and so sick, physically sick, not from any addiction or anything like that. Okay. And we're looking at these people saying to themselves, well, they didn't take drugs, they didn't take alcohol, they didn't do something else kind of weird and perverse, they wouldn't be out there. My think is that most people, generally speaking in society, wouldn't take them a month before they would be hooked on, well, maybe not hooked, start taking something in order to cope with that lifestyle and not having a roof over your head, being in danger all the time.
Okay.
So I think we think that these people started with these vices and then ended up, I don't think that's the case.
Well,
I mean, we could debate it.
Yeah,
we could debate it.
I'm sure.
That's the case a good deal of time.
It goes into what I mentioned before, that we need to have a national debate about this, because I disagree with you, but I can't say I'm right. I believe that most of the people who end up homeless, and I say most, not all, have done so through their own volition. And you would say that something else caused them to be homeless, and then when they get on the street, then they pick up some of these bad habits. Well, I'm sure that happens too. But until we decide to look at the situation, see what it is, all we're doing is throwing money at a problem we don't know how to solve. The 65-year-olds, okay, are entitled to money. The articles I was reading about were talking about people over 50. Okay. And so what does a 55-year-old do? They're not entitled to this money.
No, they're not.
So what do? I don't know. And if we don't have a national debate, go ahead.
For seniors who probably will get sick unless they have something and really drain the economic system once they're over 65, because things happen when you get to be a senior. And I think they did thinking this would be a cheaper way of dealing with it.
Well,
by giving them, this is the average amount each month for most states, almost $943, because they're going to end up in hospitals anyway.
Well,
and all that.
What I'm looking at is why 65, and it makes sense though, because let's say I have a job. Don't make a lot of money, but I have a job. I have enough to pay my rent. I have enough to pay this. I have enough to pay. But what happens when I'm 65? My employer says, Jack, it was nice knowing you. Good luck to you. And here, take this Timex, and away you go. And after 65, a lot of people, and this is a almost an accepted conclusion by most Americans, that by 65 you retire. Now, I don't buy into it. I have more jobs now than I had ever. And I'm going to keep working because I like to do it. But a lot of people who've worked hard all their lives, really hard work. My work might have been mentally challenging, but physically it was not challenging at all. But some people who have physically challenging jobs all their life, they look forward to stopping. I want to quit. Yeah. And so at 65, I could understand that my question to those people. And again, this is why you need a national debate, because you need to
yeah.
bring everyone in on it.
If I could say something about that, listen, they don't want a national debate on this. You're talking about it, but how often do you hear it on the radio? They don't really want to discuss. I'm really
Might be
glad
right.
you're bringing this up. I heard you say you were going to bring this up months ago, and years ago when you had your other show, NFL Jack.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to you a couple of times. You probably don't remember, but we had a discussion. We had a friend there, and we were talking about people who can get Section 8 and this and that.
Sure.
These are the people and so on. But my point is, they don't want to debate. Nobody wants to really look into this too deeply.
I think you are correct. And because they don't want to see something sad. Most people
they don't really want to see something sad, Jack. They don't really want to be bothered. Let's face it. They complain that some guys, well, I wouldn't say, okay, I already said it. My sister complains sometimes she's riding down the street and some guy will have a stick with a bag on it and sticking it through a window.
Sure.
And she's saying, I've had enough of this. I had enough of this. I hope she's not listening. But anyway, but the problem is that, Jack, I understand those things. They used to be what they call in New Orleans gutter pumps. I realize I lived in the French Quarter area for 30 years. I know all about those things and so on.
Sure.
With my own place, my own home.
Mm-hmm.
My point is, though, is that I don't think we have the heart to look at this matter. We don't want to take the time. There may be a few exceptions to that. You're doing it today, but there's only a few exceptions of people who really want to look into this deeply, because it might take something out of their lives, out of their souls, out of their beyond their self-interest. I don't think they want to. But if you can create something, a forum, or a conversation about this, I think it would be great.
Right. Well,
or anyone else, but because I don't see it being out there. So I'd rather help someone who I'm in doubt of, who I may be in doubt of, but is in dire need, than to let them rot and die in the street while we're letting millions come to our border from other countries.
Well,
We're letting them die.
I think that's the only way we're going to get to this debate. Sadly, we're not going to do it because there's no way to make money from it. So if there's no way to make money from it, people are generally not going to do it. No. But they don't look at the other side. How much money are we losing because of it? Anyway, Rusty, always a pleasure. And you bring up this topic, which I will agree, nobody wants to touch. Okay, folks, next Tuesday, we'll have our expert on geriatrics and what to look for Thursday night. That's a week from today. The Jack Clegg Show will be on at 9:30 at night next Thursday following the debate. Folks, have a good weekend.
Hi, I'm William Wallace. You can hear me live on Tuesday.